Final chapter, A Love Worth Fighting For. Sofia sat on the balcony of her apartment, looking out at the city lights. The cool evening breeze brushed against her skin as she held a warm cup of tea in her hands. Her mind was filled with thoughts of William. Everything that had happened over the past few weeks felt like a dream meeting him in the bookstore. Their long walks, the stolen moments of laughter, and the storm that had nearly torn them apart. She hadn't spoken to him since their emotional conversation 2 days ago. She needed time to process everything. Did she really want to open her heart again? Could she trust him not to leave this time? Her phone buzzed, pulling her out of her thoughts. It was a message from William. Sofia, I know you need space, but I just wanted to say one thing. Meet me at the bookstore at 7 p.m. If you don't come, I'll understand. But I hope you do. Sofia's heart pounded. She stared at the message, unsure of what to do. But deep down, she already knew her answer. The bookstore reunion. At exactly 7 p.m., Sofia pushed open the door of the bookstore where it all began. The warm scent of old books filled the air, and the familiar wooden shelves surrounded her. She glanced around, searching for William. And then, she saw him. He was standing by the poetry section, holding a book in his hands. His expression was unreadable, but when their eyes met, his face softened. I wasn't sure if you'd come, he admitted. Sofia took a deep breath. I almost didn't. William smiled gently. But you did. For a moment, they stood in silence. Then, he stepped closer. Sofia, I don't want to make promises I can't keep. But what I do know is that I don't want to lose you again. If we take this step, I want it to be real. No doubts, no running away. Sofia looked into his eyes, searching for any hesitation. But there was none. Only honesty. Only hope. She reached for his hand. Then let's take that step together. William exhaled, as if he had been holding his breath the whole time. Then, he pulled her into a gentle, warm embrace. It felt right. It felt like home. Building something new. Sofia and William took things slow, rebuilding the trust between them. They spent more time together, walks in the park, late-night talks, quiet evenings reading side by side. Sofia had always believed love was something fragile, but with William, she was starting to think that love was also about effort, about choosing each other every day. One rainy afternoon, they sat in a small cafe, sipping coffee and watching the raindrops slide down the window. William sighed. I was scared, you know. That night when we argued, I thought I had ruined everything. Sofia traced the rim of her cup. I was scared too. I thought you had already made your choice. He reached for her hand across the table. I have, Sofia. And it's you. It will always be you. Sofia felt warmth spread through her chest. She squeezed his hand, silently promising that she believed him. A moment of doubt. One evening, as they strolled along the river, Sofia found herself hesitating. Things were going well, almost too well. William, she said, stopping in her tracks. What if we're just living in a fairy tale? What if this isn't real? He turned to face her, his expression serious. It's real because we're making it real. Love isn't about perfection, Sophia. It's about showing up, even when things aren't easy. She bit her lip. But what if? No more what ifs, he interrupted gently. Let's just take it one day at a time. Sophia nodded, realizing that maybe love wasn't about having all the answers. Maybe it was about choosing to stay, despite the uncertainty. A future written in the stars. A few weeks later, they found themselves back in the bookstore, browsing through the shelves together. The warm scent of old pages and freshly brewed coffee filled the air, wrapping them in a familiar comfort. The quiet hum of customers flipping through books surrounded them. But for Sofia and William, the world seemed to slow down, as if this moment belonged only to them. William suddenly reached into his bag and pulled out a small, carefully wrapped package in brown paper. He held it out to her, a nervous but hopeful look in his eyes. "I have something for you," he said softly. Curious, Sophia took the package and unwrapped it with careful fingers. The moment she saw the cover, she gasped. It was a first edition of the very book she had longed for the first day they met. The worn leather cover, the delicate gold lettering, she traced it with her fingertips, as if confirming it was real. She opened the book, and her breath caught as she noticed a note tucked inside, written in William's familiar handwriting. "Some love stories are written in the stars, but the best ones we write ourselves. Let's write ours together." Sophia felt her chest tighten, warmth spreading through her as tears welled in her eyes. She looked up at him, her heart full. "Are you sure?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. William smiled, his gaze steady and unwavering. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." She swallowed hard, overwhelmed by the depth of his words. "William, this book, this message, it's not just about us, is it?" she asked, gripping the book tightly to her chest. He shook his head. "No. It's about everything we've been through. Every page of our story, every moment, good or bad. I want to keep writing it with you." Sophia felt something shift inside her, a certainty she had never fully embraced before. She reached for his hand, lacing her fingers through his. "Then let's write it together." William exhaled, as if he had been holding his breath the entire time. He gently pulled her into a hug, holding her close. The world around them, the bookstore, the shelves, the quiet conversations faded into the background. In that moment, nothing else mattered. As they stood there, bathed in the soft glow of the bookstore lights, Sophia realized that love wasn't just about destiny. It wasn't about grand gestures or waiting for fate to intervene. It was about choosing each other, again and again. The end of this story. What's next? Did you enjoy Sophia and William's story? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss more heartwarming stories like this one.